Welcome back to World's News, where we present you the most important and the funniest news from the past week. Now, here's a little reminder that this is a very new channel and we'd love it if you gave us a chance, but enough with the advertisement. This week's topics are the crypto meltdown, how a task failed successfully, and new better tires. We hope you'll enjoy this week's news, so let's get the first topic started. The crypto meltdown. I have to admit that this topic isn't for everyone, but you couldn't really live the past years without hearing of cryptocurrencies at least a few times. And the people had every right to talk about them. There are countless people that became millionaires or even billionaires when the crypto trend set in, but now this trend seems to be over. But what are cryptocurrencies and how do they work? A cryptocurrency basically is a digital currency which is an alternative form of payment created using encryption algorithms. So cryptocurrencies mean all currencies that exist digitally and use cryptography to secure transactions. Apart from that, they don't have a central issuing or regulating authority. Cryptocurrencies instead use a decentralized system to record transactions and issue new units. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about how they evolved from being worth close to nothing to selling for $60,000 a piece. So cryptocurrencies aren't that old. They were invented a few decades ago. Now when I say invented, I mean that people have to code cryptocurrencies. So they are not set up and regulated by a centralized system like a global financial institution or states, but theoretically by few humans. One of the most well-known people in the crypto game is the inventor of Bitcoin, Satoshi Nakamoto, which of course is only a pseudonym. Only very few people know who he, she or they really are. Back then, cryptocurrencies were worth close to nothing. Almost 12 years ago, a man spent 10,000 Bitcoin on 2 large pizzas. This is known as the first real-world Bitcoin transaction. Now you might wonder what those Bitcoin would be worth today, and with the current exchange rate of Bitcoin being at around $23,600, 10,000 Bitcoin would be worth around $236.3 million. But Bitcoin reached its top exchange rate of all time at the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022. At this point in time, it was worth well over $60,000 per one Bitcoin, which means that those 10,000 Bitcoin would have been worth over $600 million. So now that you know how extreme the value of many cryptocurrencies increased, you probably understand the hype if you didn't before. But back to the actual topic. After this crypto hype, almost all cryptocurrencies now plummeted down, which could also be called a crypto meltdown. So the value of many cryptocurrencies dramatically decreased at the same time. This made many investors lose thousands or even millions of dollars, pounds, euros or whatever physical currency you prefer. But since no one wants to lose that much money, they tried to sell their cryptocurrencies. But that would have caused the cryptocurrency's value to decrease even more, so one of the world's biggest lenders of cryptocurrency simply paused all withdrawals from its platform as the market continues to melt down. How far the cryptocurrencies will fall can't be said. So especially now, investing in crypto is a gamble which you probably can't win by applying logic. But that never stopped investors, and I'm sure that it won't take long till we hear first stories of investors who made millions during this recession. Task failed successfully. Yes, there are better usages of this term, but hear me out. Crampton Brophy, a 71-year-old woman, was a self-published author who wrote romance and crime novels. Among these were real bangers like The Wrong Husband, The Wrong Lover, and How to Murder Your Husband. Keep this wording in mind, by the way, because she actually shot her husband of 26 years back in 2018. Daniel Brophy was a chef and respected teacher at the Oregon Culinary Institute. He was found shot twice in the kitchen of the institute in June 2018. Now, his widow was convicted of murder last month and found guilty of second-degree murder. Apart from the murder itself, which of course is a tragedy, this whole story is hilarious. From the body being found at the victim's workplace in a kitchen after he was shot twice, to the investigators suspecting her because of her essay How to Kill Your Husband. This could be an episode in a crime series, and I wouldn't even question it, because this couldn't possibly happen in real life. But humans never fail to surprise you, don't they? But why did she do that? So I have to admit that this would have been a genius marketing move for her novels. But she had a much less original reason. She simply killed him out of greed. I mean, judging by her other novels, The Wrong Lover and The Wrong Husband, she probably wasn't all too happy in their marriage. But in the end, she just wanted to collect his life insurance payout of around 1.2 million pounds, which is around 1.5 million US dollars or 1.4 million euros. But the absurdity doesn't even stop there. In a now deleted post, she wrote, quote, "The thing I know about murder is that every one of us has it in him or her when pushed far enough." She then listed a bunch of ways to commit mariticide, which is just a fancy term for killing your spouse. Among them were many different ways, from the use of guns or knives over poison and even hitmen, before writing, quote, "It is easier to wish people dead than to actually kill them." And it seems like that worked out well as not going to jail, because she later added, and I quote, "If the murder is supposed to set me free, I certainly don't want to spend any time in jail." It's almost too stupid to be true, because she probably would have gotten away with it if she didn't write how exactly she was going to kill her husband years ago. Or maybe she just wanted to feel the kick that actually killing a person who trusted her has, or she is just mentally ill and wanted to see if the police would find out about the essay. But at this point I'm probably thinking too far. But please let me know what you think about this in the comments, so we can find a more logical solution to this than mine. Tires, but better. Let's be honest, tires are awesome. The tire might have been one of the most revolutionizing inventions in the human history. Since their invention, they served humanity great. We went from round stones over tires made from wood and other materials all the way to air-filled rubber tires as we use them today. Now, of course, not everything tires were used for was great. There, for example, was a form of torture called the breaking wheel, where a wheel was used to slowly crush every bone in a person's body, and you can be assured that that's by far not the only form of torture with wheels. But that isn't this week's topic. As I said, we are currently using tires consisting of a base structure of metal and a rubber tube filled with air. This type of tire brings a maximum in comfort and stability, but they have one major flaw. Since they are filled with air, they can deflate. Now, most of you probably know what it's like driving your bicycle over a glass shard and having to walk your bike to your destination or back home. Same goes for car tires, except there, walking your car home might not be the easiest thing to do. So, deflated tires suck, and on top of that, they can be very dangerous as well. When your tire explodes at certain speeds, your car will likely start spinning or rolling in a way it usually doesn't. And as if this danger in a car wasn't enough, when a tire on a motorcycle explodes at certain speeds, the person on the bike will probably go flying, which may sound funny but is more life-threatening than most other things. So that was more of a rant than I was planning on. But my point here is that our current tires aren't perfect, okay? But now these tires' era might be over, as Michelin's prototypes of non-pneumatic tires like these reach a point at which they could be used in everyday cars. As you can see, these tires still have rims, but apart from that, they are made of high-strength resin, a special kind of plastic, embedded with fiberglass and composite rubber, creating a mesh structure that surrounds the aluminium wheel. These tires are better than air-filled tires in several ways. To start, they obviously can't deflate, and since they don't use air, you also don't have to check their air pressure nor adjust it. Now you remember in which year we are, and surely they added a sustainable aspect to their new innovation, right? Well, of course they did. If you didn't know, pneumatic tires almost can't be reused or recycled, but these non-pneumatic tires on the other hand can be recycled. On top of all of that, some people think that a selection of sensors could be added to the wheels so that they can detect road damage or frozen roads and tell the driver, but also connected cars or even authorities about these flaws, so they can repair damaged streets. So as you can see, these tires bring nearly endless innovations, but this probably isn't the final form of tires as well, and air tires will probably stay for another century if not longer. But humanity's researchers constantly work on new solutions to make our lives as comfortable, safe and sustainable as possible, which in my opinion is a very good trend. These were the most important and funny news from the past week. If you've got any suggestions on topics that we missed out on, feel free to let us know in the comments. And if you like our content, be sure to like and subscribe, since that helps us out a ton. But now to this week's bonus fact. Have you ever asked yourself why we get chills? Chills are caused by rapid muscle contraction and relaxation. They are the body's way of producing heat when it feels cold, so chills often predict the coming of a fever or just an increase in the body's core temperature.